All right, we're live, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to this week's edition of Fights Unwrapped. To the right of me is my co-host Alec Carr. We are so excited because this week is going to be an amazing show. We have an amazing fight card for you guys. So, Alec Carr, if you wanted to do some shoutouts right now, this is the time to do so.
Yeah, as always, guys, you can follow me at AlecTVCar on Twitter for all my crazy off the wall opinions. They have been flying out there left and right recently. Um, I got some crazy stuff. I got some crazy ideas about sports, and I like to talk about it. So please follow me there. Please comment. Please, let's get into it. Let's argue. Let's debate. It's what fuels me. I love doing it. You can also follow me at Fourth and 26 Sports. A lot of Philadelphia sports, a lot of headlines coming out there. Really just retweeting Philadelphia headlines. Most recently about Eagles training camp. A lot of Ben Simmons trade talks. A lot of that stuff going on. But it's also national. There's fight stuff coming out of there. There's national basketball, national football, baseball, anything you can really count on is there. Please, as always, follow us at Fights Unwrapped. It's why me and Monique are here for our love of fights, our love of combat sports. My unbiased, biased opinion, we have the best content out there for UFC and fights in general. So please follow us, like us, find us on YouTube as well, and subscribe and like it, hit the like button, the little thumbs up thingy. That will really, really help us out. As well, please follow Unwrap Sports Network. So literally why me and Monique know each other. It's why Dustin is on here sometimes. It's why some other people are on here sometimes because we are part of the Unwrap Sports Network. Great network of people. We got sports from all over the country, news, articles, opinions, player breakdowns, roster breakdowns from all over the country. You got news. You want news in Chicago about the Bears? We got a Chicago person. We got New York. We got Florida. We got Atlanta. We got Philly. We got Toronto. We're all here. So please like and follow Unwrap Sports and subscribe to Unwrap Sports Network on YouTube. That's where you can find us.
Okay, thank you, Alakar. So before we jump into our many headlines for today, it's going to be a jam-packed show, everyone. So get ready. We're going to talk about our sponsors real quick. So it's unfortunate that Carlos Condit did not win his last match, but he's a huge proponent of RxHemp.com, and they are a CBD product. They have icy hot CBD creams, and you can get them at 10% off your order if you use our promo code RxHemp-USN to get 10% off your entire order. Okay, so that's our first promo, and then the second one for our sponsor is mybookie.ag. This is a huge card. UFC 265 is this weekend, everybody. So get ready to go and bet, and you can use mybookie.ag. Great site, and we have a promo code USN100 to get 100% sign up bonus or double up your deposit. So if you register today, you can get double up your deposit if you register today at mybookie.ag, promo code USN100. All right. So let's start off with our headlines. So the first headline we're going to talk about is Mr. Dustin Poirier and some of his comments regarding his potential matchup with Charles do Bronx Oliveira. And pretty much the context is that he said that after the match, if he wins that match, he's going to retire. So that's a huge comment. I mean, am I surprised? A little bit, but not really. I mean, this coming from Dustin Poirier, he's accomplished um, almost everything. And I think he at one point he was interim champion. I think at one point as well. So the only thing that's missing is him actually being champion. But obviously we talked about me and Alec talked about his shady comments. So we talked about the foundation that he holds, what's called, and how it's not really legit or it's not really ethically moral. and we talked about a lot of things like that. So, Alucard, what are your thoughts on Dustin's comments about retiring after he wins this match?
Yeah, well, first of all, he's never going to beat Bronx. He doesn't really stand a chance, and he kind of alluded to that if you read the comments. I'm going to go up against a fierce opponent who's one of the best grapplers in the entire UFC history, and has also gotten much better at striking. This version of Dustin is just so annoying. I think suffering from Dustin Poirier fatigue. As he gets more in the spotlight, we start to learn more and more about him, and I like him less and less. Because I was a huge Dustin fan before the second. I mean, even before the second McGregor fight, I was a huge Dustin fan. But he is just. These comments are just so annoying. They're so. If I win, I'm done. I've done everything I've set out to do. He still has yet to accept the fight. I don't know if Dana's officially offered it yet, but Dana said immediately after the fight that Dustin will be fighting Bronx. That's the next fight for Dustin. I don't know if Dustin accepts the fight. He has openly admitted that it was kind of a shock to me because his last comments about championships were that he doesn't care about them. So for him to come out and say, I care about championships, it's the last thing, it's always been my goal, it's always what I've had my eye on, you're lying, dude. You're just putting into more of the shadiness surrounding Dustin Poirier. The guy's he's two-faced. He's just a fake person. The more and more we get to learn about him. I didn't set out to hate on Dustin. Listen, if you retire, he's well-deserved. He's been in the UFC for a long time. He's got some really, really impressive victories and is a damn good fighter. But don't come out here and say your only goal this whole time has been championship fights when we can go back into your archives of what you've said, and you said you didn't care about championship fights. So, just don't do that. Don't lie to me. That's all I ask. And I doubt he accepts the fight. I don't think he's going to. And if he does, he already knows Bronx is going to beat the shit out of him. So it's a fake statement, just in the essence of it. There's no weight behind it. I don't know. I don't even think he thinks he can win. And that's kind of why, in my eyes, that's why he makes a statement like this. Yeah, well, if I win, I'm going to retire. Just shut up and get ready for the fight. That's all. I'm tired of seeing Dustin's face. I'm tired of hearing his voice. He even said something like, I'll just go sell hot sauce. Dude, nobody cares about your hot sauce. No one's buying it. Just stop. Just stop. Honestly, just stop. I didn't think that this would be a rant, but apparently it was. But yeah, my comment to Dustin, if I was in his corner, would just be, shut up.
No, I hear you. I mean, I feel annoyed too, just because he said he cares about championships. But look at what happened when you totally rejected the whole fight against Bronx, which you had the opportunity to do,
right.
and just for a payday, right? Just for that's all he cared about was making money. He didn't care about championship, obviously, because he faced Conor McGregor.
Right.
And I actually think that he might be ducking. He's trying to duck Bronx. Like you said, he doesn't think he can win because if he did, then he would have taken that fight against Bronx if he actually cared about a championship. If he actually thought he can win, I think 100% he would have taken that fight. And it wouldn't have been Michael Chandler versus Bronx. It would have been Dustin Poirier versus Charles Oliveira. But now
and then. Don't forget too, he got an official offer for a championship fight against Bronx after the second Conor McGregor fight, and he turned it down. So
that's crazy.
It's just not there's nothing wrong for going for money. The UFC doesn't pay their fighters well. It's on paper. All fight fans know that. There's nothing wrong. You don't have to admit it, but you don't have to pretend like you care about championships. Look at the Diaz brothers. They've made a career on not caring about championships. So, just don't be fake. Just don't be fake. Don't be a TJ Dillashaw. That's all.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I totally think that DuBronx would win against Dustin Poirier anyways. Like DuBronx is in his prime. Like he's just like his striking's got a lot better. Like you said, his grappling. He's one of the best, if not the best, submission artists in the game right now. So Dustin Poirier's in a lot of trouble. If he accepts this fight, we'll see. I don't know if it's official yet, like Alec said originally, but it is what it is. And Dustin, let's just like you said, just get ready for the fight and stop talking. All right,
Yeah,
let's move on to a fighter that accepted a fight recently. According to Dana White, Stipe Miocic just accepted a fight against John Jones in the heavyweight division. And very exciting news. We just found out about it this morning, so we definitely had to talk about it for sure. I mean, we talked about before the stream how John Jones might still be salty about, you know, the fact that he was promised a championship fight, moving up to heavyweight. But at the same time, it's like, he's not gonna get it right now, and like, so does that mean he's not gonna fight in heavyweight? And I think that this would be an amazing fight, for John Jones, for Stipe, obviously. I know it won't make the money that John Jones wants, but at the same time, this could like, because Stipe is the best heavyweight of all time. This could be a huge accomplishment for John Jones if he beats Stipe Miocic. That's just how I see it right now. What do you think, Alec Carr?
yeah. This fight's great. This is the original fight Dana wanted. If we're being honest and we look back on it, this is the fight that was being built up before the Ngannou Stipe rematch. This was the fight that everybody had their eyes on, with John Jones going up to heavyweight and taking on the greatest heavyweight of all time in his first fight. Um, that was the story, right? That's what. And when it didn't happen, when Francis won, because Francis is big, strong, young, and a brute,
Yeah.
and he walked over aging Stipe Miocic. Um, yeah, that people, the Dana went into a panic, and that's what I really think happened. That's why he wouldn't pay Francis. That's why he wouldn't pay John. That's why he wouldn't offer Stipe the championship fight. He wants Stipe versus John Jones. I wouldn't be shocked if John Jones doesn't accept the fight. I will say, now that we're talking about it on the stream, I've been thinking, I follow John Jones on everything, because if you want a good Twitter follow John Jones. He's hilarious. Like him or hate him, he is a funny dude on Twitter. Um,
Mhm.
but he has been posting that he's fighting again in 2022. So maybe they're just ironing out some small details, and he will eventually accept the fight. It is weird, the whole thing, the way it played out. Stipe said he was fighting John Jones, that he accepted the fight, and then Dana White comes out this morning and confirms the accepting of the fight. Um, it's cool. I love it. It's building the story. We're getting ready for the interim title belt, which is just, we'll talk about later. It's
Yeah, we'll
insane
talk
to me
about that later.
still. But this fight, it should happen. It has to happen. It's the fight that was originally supposed to happen. Um, I'm excited. I hope John Jones accepts the fight. I'll be disappointed if he doesn't accept the fight. He needs to accept the fight for his career, if we're being honest. If he wants to continue to fight in MMA, he needs to accept this fight. Um, but if he doesn't, would I be shocked? Absolutely not. He was so wronged by the UFC and Dana White. I would not be shocked if he didn't accept this fight.
Yeah, like I said, like the only thing that, like, if I was John Jones and I was thinking about, why I should accept this fight. I mean, like, it's Stipe Miocic. It's not like some heavyweight. It's the greatest heavyweight of all time. He's won and defended his belts at least 4 times. That's more than any other heavyweight has ever done before, and like that to me would be a huge accomplishment. And then like afterwards, then you go against Francis Ngannou, and then like we'll talk about that a little later, like because of the interim belts and stuff like that. But that's my comments, like when it comes to accepting the John Jones fight, the Stipe Miocic fight. I don't know. I really hope so, because I really want to see John Jones fight. I haven't seen him fight, and it feels like forever, right? So, and I'm a huge
It
fan.
has been forever. and a motivated John.
Like, you just put in so much of the hard work, you might as well like fight, and you might as well fight the baddest heavyweight of all time. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how
Yeah.
I see it. And like, so we'll go into our next headline, which is quite surprising to me because it's a Brand who wasn't on a really hot streak. He's honestly in a losing streak, going down to flyweight to face Kai Kara France. And I don't know how this is gonna pan out because like Cody is like he just has to be motivated again, and he has to like be focused and more disciplined because his last fight didn't show it. So that's just how I see it. So what do you think about this move to flyweight? Do you think it's a smart move for Cody? Do you just because like bantamweight is so stacked right now, and obviously there's no room right now for him to get the belt, but in flyweight there is room. But here's the thing: against if
I
he's trying to gun for Brandon Moreno, you know what I'm saying? Like he has something to watch out for because that man is only getting better and better. He just trained with Canelo recently. So anyway, sorry, I went on a little rant. So
um
Alikar, what do you think about this move?
I got a simple answer. Cody's running. He's
Yeah,
running
man.
and running and running. He's on a losing. He's not. I guess he's not technically on a losing streak because he got a lucky strike against Raphael. I can't ever pronounce his name.
Ascenso,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. You got real lucky with that. He dipped a punch and just got a crazy good opportunity, and he, to his credit, bounced on it. Um, I he's running. He's getting called out by guys like Sugar Sean O'Malley. He knows he doesn't stand a chance against these guys. Cody is one of those guys. Like he's a Darren Till. He's got all the talent and all the potential in the world, but it keeps getting in his own way. Um, his issue is a little bit different than Darren Till. Is that once Cody thinks he's rocked you, he opens up and starts swinging for the finish. And you can't do that against top five ranked guys. And I don't care what division you're in. You can't do that against the top five ranked guys in any division in the UFC. Really against any of the top 10 guys right now in the UFC. The UFC, I will stand by, is the strongest it's ever been. As far as athletes go, it is ridiculous right now how many good fighters there are. And
Hmm.
Tony just doesn't. He doesn't have the discipline. He has all the skill. He does, but he doesn't have the discipline. There's a reason why they call them fighting disciplines. There's a reason why the first thing, if anybody's taking a combat sport class or an MMA, any kind of mixed martial art class, the first thing you have to learn is what, Monique?
Discipline.
Discipline. like it's the first thing you got to learn because it's so important. Um, so I just think he's running. He's running to the wrong. Running the wrong division. I mean, this division is hot and heavy. I mean, it's a lot of young guys, but there's a lot of young good guys in this division, and you got two of the top scariest the champion and the number one contender in figure are two of the scariest dudes in the UFC right now. I would not be running to this division if I was Cody. He's in for a rude awakening. If he thinks he's
Hell
going to go
yeah.
down there and walk over, because he's not. It's not like he's going to be oversizing these guys because he's really not. But yeah, Cody's running.
It's just here's my thing. You know that he's trying to get to the belt as fast as he can. That's the only reason why he's going down to the flyweight division because he thought in bantamweight, oh, if he won his last match that against Rob Font, that puts him in a really good position and for contention for the belt, right? But
But
now obviously he lost, and now he's lost. He's literally lost. No discipline. You're right. He does have the skill in the world. I don't think he personally. I don't think he's that talented, to be honest with you. Just because I think that he's a brawler. Like, he's always been a brawler. Like, I don't think technically, like, there's obviously, like, look what happened with Rob Font. Like, he was outboxed. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think technically he's not like as strong as what people think. I do think though he has some talent. Obviously, he has some skill, but his goal is to go for the belt, and like you said, like, all these young guns are going for it and flyweight. I mean, you got who do you have? What, Brand Marino? You got Biggie.
Let's break it down. Let's break it down real quick. I mean, let's just do it. I got the rankings right in front of me.
I was gonna say, can you please?
I know we got a big card to talk about, but let's just break it down because this is really interesting. You got Brand Marino and Biggie, which I still don't know who's better. We've got to see the trilogy. It's got to happen. Then you got Escarvov, Pantoja, Alex Perez, Benavidez, Brendan Royval. That's your top 6. Is he beating any of those guys?
I don't know, man. I don't think so.
No. Royval brings him to the ground and chokes him out. Perez Benavidez has just got more heart and is probably more technically better on his feet, than like you said, than him. Alex Perez beats him however he wants. Pantoja beats him. I mean, he just doesn't stand a chance with any of these guys. So I don't know there's a reason why he's going in and fighting the number 7th ranked fighter in that division. It's because he doesn't deserve to fight any of those top guys because Dana doesn't think he can beat him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and Cody's not a big ticket item anymore. I mean, he's just not. So it'll be interesting to see. If he wins, good on him. I think he can beat Kai Kara-France, but after that,
I don't think he can. That's the problem.
I think he can.
This version of Cody is not the version. Like, if he fought like how he fought against Rob Font, then.
But listen. The thing is with Cody though is that kind of power. He can win any of those fights at any time. But is there a strong chance of that happening? No. I think there's a stronger chance of that happening with Kai Kara-France. I do. I think I'm just not huge. A big fan of his. I've never really been huge on him. I think he's a good fighter, but I don't think he's that great. And he's kind of at the same. It's a perfect fight. He's at the same level as Cody.
For sure. Well, we'll see how this move goes for Cody. Good luck, Cody, because you're gonna need it in the flyweight division. That's for sure. All right, let's talk about our last headline before we move on to our main card. A breakdown. Let's talk about. Yeah, exactly. We got Paulo Costa versus Marvin Vittori. All right. I mean, huge implications here for Marvin Vittori. Obviously, he just fought for the belt, but Izzy pretty much dismantled him. This fight. I'm not gonna hold my breath because, like, the last few fights, Costa has taken himself out of these fights, and so, like, I haven't seen Costa fight in so long because of some injury or some flu or some, like, excuse, like he drank too much wine before a matchup or something like that. I don't know, man, but I'm not holding my breath on this one either, just because it's Paulo Costa, man. Like, he's known as a flake right now, and we talked about this, like, right before the stream. We talked about how we pretty much think that Paulo Costa is a douche. Like, he doesn't have. We talked about discipline. Like, he doesn't have that. He's always, like, out there partying too much, drinking too much, what have you, and, like, not taking care of himself. That's for sure. And that's what we were talking about recently. So I don't know. I like this matchup, but I'm not going to hold my breath Alucard because it's Paulo Costa, and you never know what he's going to say to get out of this fight. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm same page. I don't know if it even happens. If it does, great, because it's a great matchup. I was just thinking about it while you were talking. I listen. You guys, all of our listeners can go back and listen to all of our past streams where we talk about Costa. I am not the biggest fan, and that's a nice way of saying it. Never have been, never liked the guy, never thought he was that great. I don't actually know if he is better than Vittori. I just don't. I mean, I will die. I will die on on my pedestal of talking and saying that he lost to Yoel Romero. I don't think he won that fight. I don't think it was even close. I think Romero absolutely destroyed him after the first round. Um, I just don't know if Gotts is that good. I don't know who I would pick. I am starting to side more towards Vittori, but again, don't be shocked if this fight doesn't happen because he gets scared at the end, because that's what he is. He was a big boy that got put in his place by the champ, and is now running around and acting like bullies do when they get beat up.
Mhm. That's for sure. That's literally all we have to say about this because we don't know if it's gonna happen or not. Like we've been promised a lot of Costa fights and they've all been let down. So recently, so that's what it is. So let's move on to something more positive. Let's move on to our UFC 265 fight preview, which is going to be exciting because it's a really great card. Let's just share the screen real quick. Pull up the card. All right. Let's see. Okay. So, for our first fight, we have a bantamweight bout Song Yadong versus Casey Kenny. And I was talking to Alec Carter about this. Not really crazy about this matchup, that it's on the main card for this one, but it is what it is. I'm not usually someone who roots for Team Alpha Male fighters. I'm not crazy about them, but I think Song Yadong's probably gonna win this one. Casey Kenny, like he's okay. Like he has some skill and he has heart and he's a pressure forward fighter. But Song Yadong, I think measures up better. He's the better fighter. Like, what do you think, Alec Carr?
Uh, yeah, I'm on the same page with you again. I think Yadong is better. I think a pressure forward fighter is a bad matchup. I mean, Yadong's perfect matchup. He is a striker. He is, if you pressure forward, he is going to land punches. That's just what he's going to do. Kind of like how Sanhagen did when he beat Dillashaw, because he did beat him. But that's kind of the same kind of tactic Yadong will take to this. Is I'm going to let you pressure forward, and I'm just going to every time you take a step forward, I'm going to land a punch. Every time you take a step forward, I'm going to kick you in the leg. Every time you take a step forward, you're going to jab. Casey Kenny's best chance is to get this fight on the ground. We saw Yadong's not that great on the ground. not the best ground fighter. Casey Kenny does have, like you said, he's not great at anything. He's just kind of good at everything. He does have a huge win over Luis Smolka. And he's got decent ground game. So if I'm him, I continue that pressure forward. And like you said, he does have heart. He will take punches. Pressure forward, get him on the ground, and that's your chance of winning this fight. Yadong is, he's being marketed as one of the young up-and-comers. The guy's only 23 years old, believe it or not. It's shocking to me because he already has, let's see, 1, 2, 3... He has so many fights in the UFC already. It baffles me that he's only 23. And the sky's the limit with this kid because he is already a really good technical striker. So, I would love to. I'm not super excited for this fight, but I've said over and over again on the stream, I love watching the young guys, seeing what they have. Go out there and prove it, Yadong, that you're gonna be one of the faces of this promotion. Go out there, handle your business, get a knockout in the first or second round, and move on to the next one. Start getting closer and closer to this ranked opponent.
That's for sure. All right, let's move on to the next one. We got the women's strawweight belt, Tecia Torres versus Angela Hill. I'm excited about this one. Like, I'm really excited about Tecia Torres coming back. I honestly think she can get the job done against Angela Hill. In my opinion, she's what do they call her, tiny tornado or something like that. Super strong, obviously like really great everywhere, just technically better in my opinion than Angela Hill. Just like the same thing as against Casey Kenny. Like, I just think that Tisha Torres is the better fighter. What do you think, Alucard?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Tisha Torres is better everywhere in this. I would say that Angela Hill might be more technically sound as
Mm-hmm.
far as striking wise goes than Tisha Torres. But I think that it's a little bit opposite of the Adon Kenny fight. I think Tisha Torres beats her everywhere else. I just think
Yeah.
striking. I don't know if striking will really play into this fight that much. I really like Tisha Torres in this fight. I think it's going to be a unanimous decision. I think she's going to win it pretty easily. Angela Hill, to be honest with you, has been kind of upsetting as of late. I know she just beat Ashley Yoder, but
Mm-hmm.
and had a split decision against Michelle Watterson and by Claudia Gadea. You know, Angela Hill looked like she was about to come in and take over the UFC, and then she hit that 2-fight loss streak. She's had a bunch of cancellations. Um, I don't have anything against Angela Hill. I just think Tisha Torres is better.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're on the same page for two of the fights. The next one, welterweight. I think we might be on the same page for this one. I'm not sure. It's Michael Chiesa versus Vicente Luque. And okay, here's my thing. I'm not a huge fan of Michael Chiesa. I honestly think he's so boring. He's like he's a great wrestler, don't get me wrong, but Luque, like the last fight, I think was it against Tyron Woodley? I think that was his last fight. He proved to everyone that his striking is like he has knockout power, that's for sure. And I really hope he wins this fight, but I don't know who's gonna win just because Michael Chiesa is just gonna try to wrestle him, but Luque has pretty good takedown defense. So that's how I see it. But I don't know. What do you think, Alikar?
I know who's going to win this fight, and I
Yeah?
don't like it. I don't
Oh
like it at all.
no. Oh no.
Michael Chiesa is going to win this fight in a unanimous decision in the most boring way possible because he doesn't want to get hit at all by Vicente Luque. Not that I blame him. I wouldn't want to get hit by Vicente Luque. The guy hits like a Mack truck. He's a monster out there, especially in that division. The guy just in the welterweight division, Vicente Luque is a scary looking dude.
Yeah.
He's bigger than most of the guys he goes up against, and he punches and kicks with crazy amounts of power. Michael Chiesa is going to take this down to the ground. He's gone up against guys with some of the greatest takedown defense ever, and he gets them down. He is one of those guys that is just so good at his trade that everybody knows what you're going to do, and he's going to come in and do it anyway because he's that good at it. Vicente Luque's takedown defense has gotten much better. Much, much better. But this is, let's put it, Michael Chiesa has just beaten Neil Magny, beat RDA, Sanchez, Carlos Condit. He's beaten Beneil Dariush. Granted, it was a different Dariush than now.
Right. Yeah.
But Chiesa's I think he's gonna lay on top of him. It's gonna be a real boring fight. He'll look for his and try to set up his submissions like he always does. But it's gonna be a real boring fight, and he's gonna win the decision. And Vicente Luque is not even gonna be tired because it's gonna be so boring. And that's what's just gonna happen. I've seen enough Chiesa fights to know how they go down. And what's scary about him is he just keeps getting better at wrestling. It's so annoying. And I will give you the credit. Vicente Luque looked great against Tyron Woodley. But what is Tyron Woodley doing now? Remind me, Mooney.
Yeah, exactly. He's going against. He's doing a boxing match or something like that, right?
Against one of the Paul brothers. Yes. Tyron Woodley's not the same fighter. He's not the same wrestler. He's not the same anything that he used to be. Beating Vicente Luque, beating Tyron Woodley, today's Tyron Woodley, I'm sorry. Just not that impressive. Tyron Woodley is probably out of the UFC. I don't think he comes back after this boxing match. I think Dana White's like, see ya, have a good time, don't come back.
Yeah.
That's
for sure. Yeah.
And I like Vicente Luque a lot. I'm a huge fan of him. I love watching him fight. I've picked him in so many fights in the past. Most famously against Wonder Boy and got totally denied. But but yeah, I don't see a path to victory for Vicente Luque other than he lands a clean punch against Chiesa and puts him down. But Chiesa doesn't get punched clean. He's good at dodging. So
Yeah,
get ready for a boring one. If there's a break to take in this fight,
that's the break right there.
this is the fight. Even though it's Vicente Luque who's usually set for fireworks, any Chiesa fight, if you want to take a break during the card and go grab something to eat, do it during this one, all right?
For sure. All right, let's move on to our brilliant co-main event. We got Jose Aldo versus Pedro Munoz. All right, really exciting matchup. You know, we're huge Aldo fans right here, obviously. So I just I just think that, like, here's the thing. I know that Jose Aldo has what it takes to beat Pedro Munoz. Pedro Munoz doesn't look that great recently. My point is that I don't know which Jose Aldo is going to show up, right? Because it's Jose Aldo that shows up against Jan, then he has a chance to beat Pedro Munoz. That's how I see it. What do you think, Alikar?
I think he beats Pedro Munoz. I
Yeah,
think Jose Aldo has been so underestimated as of late because of his record. He's one of those guys. There are guys in the UFC that you can go back. MMA is a weird sport because wins and losses doesn't technically make you a bad fighter. It depends against who those losses are. It depends on how you looked in those losses. I would argue he won the Marlon Morales fight. He didn't. It was a split decision. He could have gone either way. He looked really good against the most scary guy. One of the scariest guys in that division's history. And granted, Peter Yan usually gives you 3 rounds before he starts fighting, so that's probably why he looks really good. But he still looks really fast. He's still got tons of skill. He's got those counter body strikes. I just think, and the funny thing is, I fall into this mistake all the time of thinking Aldo's like 40 years old. Just because he's been around for so long. He's 34. He's not even that
yeah,
old. I know
he's
he's
not.
fighting
Yeah,
like closer to 40, but he's not even
yeah,
that old. I think he's got tons left in him. And listen, this could be all biased because I love the dude. I'm a huge
yeah.
fan. Always have been. One of the reasons I watch the sport is because of Jose Aldo. Um, I think he can. I think he's just a better version of Pedro Munoz. To be honest with you, I just think he's better than him. I think it's a
Yeah,
good fight for him and start stringing together some wins. I think he just needs to see some W's. I think once Aldo starts seeing some W's stack up in a row, we're gonna see that Jose Aldo that we know. He's gonna come in there. His biggest issue right now is confidence. He doesn't always go in there with confidence.
right.
Um, but listen, he wins this fight. I would say watch out for the rest of the division because I think this is a man. If he wins this fight, he's got two big victories in a row, and he's coming for that belt. And that hungry. I'm not going to say angry because I don't know if Aldo gets angry. I just don't know
Yeah.
if that's a thing that happens. But hungry Aldo is terrifying. I don't care how
Yeah.
old he is. A hungry Aldo who wants to win the belt, who has a couple of victories in a row, that's just the division should be scared. I don't care if it's Peter Yan, Aljamain Sterling, Corey Sandhagen. I hope the next fight, honestly, I hope the next fight. I have it right? Yeah. I hope the next fight. I hope he fights TJ Dillashaw if he wins this. I would love to see that happen.
Yes.
It would be like
Yes.
the ultimate good against the ultimate evil. Versus Darth Vader. It would be awesome. It would be a great build up to like that's got main event fight night written all over it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would absolutely love that. So I'm all in. I'm rooting for Aldo. I'm picking Aldo. I think he wins this fight.
All right, me too. Let's move on to our main event. All right, we got
Oh wait! We should mention um, this was not supposed to be the co-main. We are
right.
unfortunately missing out on Amanda Nunes. It sucks, but the fight's being rescheduled. So yay!
Yay, there you go. Yeah, good job, Alucard. Good job for mentioning that. All right, so talking about the main event, this is for the interim heavyweight belt, which is crazy, but it is what it is. Got Derrick Lewis versus Cyril Gane, and here's my thing, okay? Like I don't know why I always think that Derrick Lewis isn't going to win his fights, but then he ends up for some reason winning them because he has a lucky punch in there, right? But this time it's against Cyril Gane, and Cyril Gane is not going to let that happen, you know. So I think Cyril Gane is going to win this fight, and then he's going to. I don't know who's going to fight for the belt next. Obviously, we don't know because we have Francis Ngannou, we got Stipe, we got John Jones in the air, but hopefully the winner of this might be next for the belt. So we'll see. But I think Cyril Gane wins this. I think he's proven his last fight against I think Volkov that he was just he's just better than what we expected him to be. We thought he wasn't ready for that, but he proved us wrong. And like then now you're just fighting Derrick Lewis, who's not really technically better than anybody. He's a lucky punch guy, So that's what I think of the fight. What do you think, Alucard?
I am disappointed that I can't be as excited for this fight as I should be
Mhm.
because it's a wrongful interim title fight. Um, this fight's incredible. This is a great matchup. This is pure power against pure technique. This is just two guys who are going to strike back and forth, and we're going to see freaking fireworks. We're going to see somebody who's trying. Gane is going to try to land 3 punches for every one Derrick lands. Gane is going to try to dip and duck out of the way while Derrick Lewis tries to find his shot. Gane's going to try. He's going to play the chess match, right? He's going to make him play. He's going to make Derrick Lewis play checkers while he plays chess, and he's going to try to feint and duck and dip and try to get out of the way and make Derrick Lewis make a mistake and capitalize. He's going to attack the legs. Don't be surprised if we see a rare Gane takedown. Apparently, he's a phenomenal wrestler, though we haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So this fight is freaking incredible. It is, and that I am a big fan of heavyweights. Boxing, MMA, doesn't matter what it is. Heavyweights are why you watch because somebody's lights are going out. Somebody's going out because it's heavyweights. They are powerful. They are strong. And to not be able to be as excited as I want to be for this fight is just a little disappointing. But I'm going to put that aside for you guys, and we've left time on this stream because we wanted to talk about the issues that we might have with this fight. But just on the pureness of the fight game, the pureness of this fight is freaking phenomenal. I couldn't be more excited for the fight itself because Gane has a chance to really. I mean, Derrick Lewis beat Alexander Volkov. It was one of those, like you mentioned, Monique, kind of lucky punch. Volkov opened up, and Derrick Lewis was like, "Thanks."
Yeah.
And that tends to happen with Derrick Lewis. Listen, the guy's got power for days. He's got zero technique. Zero.
Yeah.
Absolutely none. He doesn't care to learn. He doesn't care about championships, which, again, goes to mention why he shouldn't be having this title fight. But this fight's going to be freaking exciting. I hope everybody tunes into this fight because it is phenomenal. I want to talk about how Dana White has screwed up this heavyweight division. And why don't you get your thoughts first? Because I might talk for a while. So it's just absolutely disgusting what he's done. You go ahead. You tell me your thoughts on this, on what Dana White has done to the heavyweight, and where you think the heavyweight division is going to go.
That's a really loaded question because, like, you know, when I think of the heavyweight division right now, I think it's a mess. It's a total mess right now. You have the champion, but he's not fighting because you don't want to pay him. You have John Jones who doesn't want to fight because you don't want to pay him. You have Stipe who doesn't feel like who feels like he should have been next against Francis and get the rematch. You know, then you have I don't know why you had Derrick Lewis versus Cyril Gane for the interim belt. I don't know why there's an interim belt. You know, it's just kind of ridiculous in my opinion. Other than that, like it's just a whole mess. Like I don't know where it's going. Like, you know, all I know is that there's a lot of different factors in the air right now, and there's no really, you know, there's a champion, but you know he's not really fighting, and like, you know, he's just screwed up the division because like he doesn't want to give the fighters what they deserve. You know, and that's the whole part of it. You know, so like, what do you think, Alec? Because I know you really want to talk about this division. So I'm gonna give you your chance to. Where's the caption? Alex rant of the day. This is gonna be a rant.
I was just trying to go get it too, but you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dana White. This is gonna be the thing that could. This is the first nail in Dana White's coffin. It really is. This is the first mistake that he's made that could royally screw up the UFC. Go back in all of combat sports history. Look at fighting. Look at UFC, Pride, Strike Force, going to Strike Force. Look at WWF and WWE. Heavyweight is where you make your money as a promotion. That is how it happens. You want to be the most popular you've ever been. You do it with heavyweights, and the UFC has never had marketable heavyweights before. They've had really, really good ones. So the first one, let me rephrase that. They've had one marketable heavyweight before, but it turns out he wasn't as good as everybody thought he was, and that's Mr. Brock Lesnar, who when as soon as he fought a real heavyweight, not named Frank Mir, he got his ass whooped. So this is the first time in the history of the UFC you have marketable heavyweights, and the marketable heavyweights are some of the best fighters in the entire promotion. You have Stipe Miocic, the greatest heavyweight of all time. You have Francis Ngannou, who's making an argument to be up there in the greatest heavyweights of all time if he keeps winning, because he will be back and he will beat the winner of this fight. You have John Jones, who is the greatest fighter of all time, not named Anderson Silva, who's now in the heavyweight division waiting for his fight. You got Curtis Blades, you got Alexander Volkov, you got Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Those guys aren't as marketable, but they're better than the heavyweights of the past of the history of the UFC, talent-wise. You have the best heavyweight division, the best fight roster ever, and you go and screw it up because one guy wants $10 million and the other guy wants $15. You want $7 billion as a promotion. Pay your fighters, dude. That would have been the second most bought fight of all time, because it wouldn't have beaten Conor McGregor versus Khabib. It just wouldn't have. But it would have been the second highest paid fight of all time, and it would have been the first one in the top 5 that doesn't have the name Conor McGregor attached to it. And you screwed it up because you didn't want to pay Francis Ngannou and you didn't want to pay John Jones. I'm being dead serious. Dana White is not a majority owner of the UFC anymore. He sold it to an investment group. He is the promotion. He's the head of promotions, essentially. He is a promoter for the UFC. That is his job now. He is not owner, so he can be fired. And he thinks he's untouchable because he's taken the UFC to where it is now. But you're not. You're not untouchable. And if you make another mistake like this, it's gonna. The investment groups paying attention. That's what they do. They stay in the background. Investment groups stay. If you don't know anything about business, investment groups are the quiet people that own all the big companies in the world and stay in the background and watch the performance of all the higher ups. They're watching this and they're making notes of this as the first major missed opportunity in Dana White's tenure as in the UFC. I just can't believe it. I can't see as a businessman that Dana White is, and as the hopeful businessman that I am trying to be. Will never be at that level of Dana White, but I can aspire. But as somebody with a business mind, I look at this and go, "You greedy motherfucker!
Mm-hmm.
You didn't want to pay your two top fighters." Because you wanted a bigger paycheck for yourself, which doesn't make any sense because if you had paid them, you would have had the second highest.
Exactly.
Yeah, you would have the second highest grossing fight of all time, and you would have gotten that huge paycheck. Dana White, this is, I can't stress enough. First nail in this coffin. Really, Dana White has done some screwed up, fucked up things in the past. He really, really has. But nothing he has done has actively hurt the UFC. If you want to call it like the NFL says, the Shield. You don't fuck with the Shield. This is the first thing that Dana White has ever done that's hurt the UFC's bottom line. He's missed an opportunity here. Jon Jones may quit, guys. Jon Jones may quit fighting because of this. There's a really good opportunity he doesn't come back. Francis Ngannou might leave. Stipe Miocic got gifted this fight because he said he was going to one championship. Mm-hmm. That's why he got offered the Jon Jones fight. Let's be honest. It had nothing to do with Stipe Miocic. It was because he said, "I'm leaving." And it's disgusting. It's just he's taking these heavyweights for a ride. He's giving two guys that don't deserve it in Derrick Lewis and Cyril Gane a title fight. And I'm the biggest Cyril Gane fan out there, probably. He does not deserve a title fight. Impressive as hell? Yeah. Prove me wrong against Volkov? Yeah. Not ready. Curtis Blades. Derrick Lewis is a great matchup for him. It shouldn't be for an interim belt. He's going to get destroyed by Francis Ngannou. Because he's going to win this fight, Cyril Gane. He's going to win this fight pretty easily. And then he's going to go against Francis Ngannou and get hurt because he's not ready for that level of a fight. He's just not. He's too young in the sport. The guy's only been fighting for about 4 or 5 years in total. He's just not ready to fight a guy like, I don't know. I could go on for an hour on this. But I'm going to try to settle down, try to take a deep breath, and just say for one last time, Dana White has fucked up for the first time. So, that's my rant of the week.
That is Alex's rant of the week. We saved that for last just because, obviously, because of the main event and the implications of it and like what it means to the heavyweight division. That's why we saved that for last. Let me just see. Is there a card the following week? I think it's Kanye versus Gastelum. Oh wait, that's all the way August 21st. Okay, so we don't have a card. We have a break. We have a huge break before that card happens, but probably a lot of headlines. So we'll be covering those for the next couple of weeks, everyone. So, okay, obviously, really great rant, Alec. I agree with everything that you said. It makes total sense to me. Like you said, like they just missed a huge opportunity. You know, like you said, and you know, it is what it is now. It's just a mess. That division's just a mess right now.
Division is just this could. The last thing I'll say on it, because I don't want to rant again. This could screw up. This is the kind of things that screw up the divisions for years. It's happened in boxing, where they've made wrong decisions. It's happened in Pride, it's happened in Strikeforce. It ultimately ruined Strikeforce and allowed the UFC to buy them. Um, these are the kinds of things that ruin divisions. These are the kinds of things that ruin promotions. Will it ruin the UFC? No, it's way too big, way too big. But it will ruin the division for years to come. Because if John Jones quits, if Stipe backs out, if John Jones says he doesn't take the fight, and then you have Stipe and John quit, now you got Francis Ngannou just up in the air fighting these guys who he's way better than, and now one of your strongest divisions becomes your weakest division, and it's no longer marketable. And I'm done. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, it totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. All right, everyone. Like you said, like Alex said, if you want to talk more about this, you can always add him at AlecTDCar on Twitter. He loves to debate. He loves to have discussions about anything sports related and obviously everything fights related. So you can do that as well. All right, everybody. We will have a bunch of headlines next week that we'll probably talk about, obviously because there's no fight card. But everybody have a great week. Happy fight week, and we will see you
Happy
all next
fight
week.
week.